Recently, I took a brand new World of Warcraft account from 0 mounts all the way up to 200 unique to one character. If you want to check out that series, there'll be a link in the description below. But in this video, I wanted to do a TLDR run through of the 200 mounts I obtained, just so you've got an easy mount list to run through if you're newer to mount collecting. Even though a lot of these mounts can be obtained at lower levels, I will be assuming you're on a max level character though. The first category up will be daily obtained mounts. The first in this is going to be the 6 mounts from the Warlords of Draenor Garrison stables. You'll need a garrison rank 2 for this, but you'll need a garrison rank 1 stables. Just do the dailies every day and you'll get those 6 mounts. Also, if you upgrade it to rank 2, you'll get an additional mount, and rank 3 an additional mount from the stables too. Also, in your Warlords of Draenor garrison, you can put down a tailoring building, and if you have the tailoring profession, you can do the dailies and the work orders to get yourself the creeping carpet. Next up will be the spring fur alpaca. All you need for this is access to the new version of Uldum where the old gods are attacking. Get yourself the greens and feed this every day for 7 days and you will get yourself this mount. The next one up will be Lizzie, and if you've done a Warlords of Draenor or a Dragonfly character boost, you should have the renown needed. Either way, you need renown 9 with the Maruk Centaur. You need to have done the quest chain you can find at the Onaran Springs, and then every day you'll have dailies until you unlock Lizzie. The final one in this list is going to be the Dusklight Razorwing. You need to get these lost Razorwing eggs for 10 days in Korthia, so you will need access to Korthia. You'll go there, you'll kill the Devourers every day for an egg. I'd recommend only getting 1 egg a day because it's faster, but there's also 2 additional things you can do in this zone as well. There's Melee the Wanderer, where you need to find Melee in the zone every day. There's a comment I'll have linked in the description below where a person kindly updates generally daily if Melee is available for the day and where it is. Also, you could be doing the mushrooms to get tasty mushrooms to feed Dark Maul every day until you get enough to get that mount too. The next category is going to be quick pickup. So this is stuff that generally will take you less than an hour unless you don't have the base setup. For example, if you don't have Shadowlands, then some of these might take you a lot longer. First one in this list will be the Wild Seed Cradle. You just head to the Arden Weald, you're going to loot 5 items, take them to Turnaval, hand them in, and you'll get that mount. The next one is also in Arden Weald, and that'll be Shimmer Mist Runner. You need to start at the very top open area, run through the archway, and follow the path correctly. If you've done it correctly at the bottom, you'll find another open area where there'll be a rare. You kill that, you get the mount. If you mess this up, start at the very beginning open area and make sure you run through the archway again, otherwise it won't reset. There's one more we can get in Arden Weald as well, and that is the Night Fae Covenant campaign mount. It comes very, very early on in the Night Fae campaign, so swap to Night Fae, go through the campaign, it'll take you like 20 minutes to get that mount. Next is over in Maldraxxus. If you head to the Plaguefall dungeon and do this on either Heroic or Mythic solo, you kill all the bosses. At the very end, after you've killed the final boss, you'll head back up and you should see the slime serpent there to loot. Next up will be Sundancer, which we can find in Bastion. The only requirements for this is access to Bastion, and you need to get your hands on a Sunstrider glider, which you can pick up from the auction house. You also want to make sure you click the plaque before you try to mount Sundancer as well. If you've done all that and you fight Sundancer after mounting it, then you will get the mount 100%. The next one up is going to be the Harbour Griffin, or if you're a Horde, you can pick up the Horde version from near the Great Seal. This is very simple. You just head to Boralis. There's going to be a quest that we can hand in there, and that will give you the Harbour Griffin, or the Horde equivalent if you're Horde. We're also going to head over to Mechagon and do the Mechagon dungeon hard mode. So make sure you're on Mythic difficulty, head inside the dungeon and do all the requirements needed for Mythic. Generally, these are a lot easier now. There's one of the more difficult ones you can apparently just straight up cheese by being tanky enough, like swap to tank spec, use defensive. Either way, get through the dungeon. You'll know you've done it right if there's a button on the very last boss for you to click. Kill the last boss and you will get yourself that aerial unit. Next up will be Garn Nighthowl. You can either buy this on the auction house or you kill Notcrush, found in Frostfire Ridge. Doesn't take very long to respawn, so an easy pickup. Next up will be the Gilnean Prowler. Just do the Reclaiming Gilneas questline. You can find it here as Alliance or over here as Horde. Go through that questline and you'll get that mount. Next is going to be the 2 Drakes from Obsidian Sanctum. You can do this on 10 man for the Black Drake or 25 man for the Twilight. Just head inside, kill the main boss, nothing else. You'll get the mount from the box at the end, and you need to do this 1 week on 10 man and 1 week on 25 man, or take an alt to get it done in the same week. The next one is going to be the Bronze Drake. We can get that from Cullen of Stratholme, found in Caverns of Time. Do this on Heroic. Go through the dungeon. If you need to do the quest stuff with Chromie, do that first, and then go through the dungeon in the timed run. And before you get to the last boss, take a left and kill the Corrupted Infinite NPC, and you'll get the mount from that NPC. Next up is the Armani Battle Bear. Just go to Zul Aman, which we can find in Ghostlands. Do this on Heroic, do it in a timed run, and once you kill the 4th boss, you should be able to free the NPC and get the loot from the box that they open, and you will get yourself the mount. Next up is Sarge's Tale, and this is going to come from playing Hearthstone. You'll log into Hearthstone even if you're a new player. You can skip the tutorial, which I think it's in the top right. Once you're on the main menu, press escape again and skip the apprenticeship mode. Go into modes, play the mercenaries mode up until the point where you get to the bounties in Barrens, fight the Quillboar, or at least start the Quillboar mission, and you should see the pop-up for the mount. Next up, I picked up all of the racial mounts. This is pretty simple. You just make a class trial of the race that you want to pick the mounts up. For example, human. Make sure you click the class trial box while you're making the character. Do the main quest line once you log into it, or whatever the current main quest line is for the expansion. You'll get some gold. You can head to like Stormwind, for example, and buy all the horse mounts. If you're trying to get the Gilnean mounts though, you will want to make a goblin instead, because Gilnean's phasing is bugged, and goblin will get you those mounts anyway. Also, if you're making a Drakthir, you will need to do a few more quests because their mounts are a lot more expensive. I also picked up some of the professor mounts. I picked up engineering and tailoring, and I picked up the base engineering flying machine, and also the 3 carpets that we can get from Northrend and tailoring. I also picked up the 3 Delvers dirigible mounts from each of the seasons. I'm not too sure if the season 2 one is still available, but if it isn't, you can definitely get season 1 and the current season at season 3 just by doing the related quests in Dornogal. Maybe season 2 is still available though, I'm not too sure on that. While I was working on the 3rd dirigible as well for season 3, I went through the Koresh main questline to the point where you unlock phase diving, and I did the phase diving weekly to pick up the mount from the currency that you get from the phase diving weekly. You could also do this for another 2 weeks if you wanted to for another mount as well. The final one in this category is going to be the 4 mounts that come from the returning horrific visions, which you can find in Dornogal. There's going to be 2 on the Stormwind week, which will be the horse, which you need to loot 4 of the horseshoes while wearing 1 mask, and take them to the forge found in Dwarven district. And for the Griffin, grab all the base war within cooking food, go to the trade district with 2 masks active, click on the 2 notes to find out what you need, and put the item in the bowl that you need, summon the rare and kill that. On the horde side, for the wolf, you need at least 1 mask active. You're going to loot 2 items, one from Valley of Wisdom, one from Valley of Strength, take them to the drag in the level working shop and summon the rare. And then for the wyvern, you'll also need to clear the Valley of Wisdom with 2 masks active. You'll take the elevator to the top, summon the rare, and then kill that. The next category will be stuff that you can just grind out. So if you want to do something for a few hours, just grind out some mounts, and this is going to be the section for you. The first one up is going to be the 3 mounts we can get from Torghast flawless runs. So you want to head into Torghast, you want to clear up to the point we've unlocked rank 16 or layer 16, and then you want to do a flawless run. Very easy to do now, just run through as quickly as you can, killing as many mobs as possible as long as you're away, breaking pots, stuff like that. Use the empowered button whenever it's available, and you should end up with flawless as long as you don't die or get hit by traps or things like that. Also, when you kill the last boss on flawless 16, there'll be a chance of an additional mount dropping, and that's what we're looking for the 3rd one. You can also unlock the adamant halls, which will give you a bonus wing sometimes, and that also has a chance of dropping that 3rd mount too. While you're in Torghast, you can also do the Jailer's Gauntlet for a mount as well. Just run through the rank 2 or layer 2, and that should unlock layer 4. Run through layer 4 and you'll get a mount for doing that. Doesn't take long at all. There's also going to be about 10 mounts you can get from Shadowlands Renown. These are pretty easy if you've got one faction close to rank 8. If you haven't, just do the main quest lines, kill the world bosses, go through LFR. This will all give you renown. Once you've got one faction to 80, there's going to be an item you can buy on the top of Oribos near the Flight Master, and that'll allow you to bump the other factions up to 60. So you go back down to the Renown Hall, you're going to swap faction, you're going to use that item, it'll bump you to 60, you'll get some anima, which you can use to buy other mounts as well, and you'll get the mounts from boosting up your renown too. Do that for all the factions and you'll get a bunch of renown. Next up will be mop, and most of the mop reputations allow you to buy an item that revered that will double your reputation all the way to exalted, so keep that in mind while I'm talking. First of all, we're going to talk about the Golden Lotus and the Shadowpan, and from these, the best way to do this is the Zandalari War Scouts and Zandalari Warbringers you can find in all the outer zones in the main kind of area, main continent, and killing these will give you tokens. If you get a Shadowpan one, it gives you about 4k on a use, and Golden Lotus gives you about 8k. They're still bugged from Remix, so you get exalted very, very fast from doing this. Also worth noting with the Shadowban, once you are exalted and you've bought their vendor mounts, there's also a quest line you can do for the Onyx Cloud Serpent, so make sure you do that too. Next up is the Order of the Cloud Serpent. You just go do the intro quest in Jade Forest. Once that's done, you can grind either the Onyx eggs on the Windward Isle and hand them in for 500 rep, or you can go to the Timeless Isle and kill the Cloud Serpents found there for a chance at the Quivering Firestorm eggs, which give 1000 rep on a hand in. Most of your rep's going to come from the Windward Isle grind though. Next up is the Flying Cloud. You're just going to fly around clicking the various scroll lore items. Once you've done all of them and you have the achievements, you should have some mail. you hand them into Lord Walker Cho. I'd recommend leaving the room entirely by flying away a little bit once you've handed one in just to reset him. It makes handing them all in faster. Make sure you buy the item at Revered to boost your rep, get to Exalted, and you can buy that cloud. Next up will be on Isle of Giants in Pandaria. You just grind mobs here for the primal eggs. You can only have one egg on per character, so if you want to get more eggs, you need to do this on your alts, and this will give you a chance of getting one of 3 raptors, although you can get duplicates. You'll also be getting bones from this that you can use for the bone white primal raptor, or you can sell them or buy them if you want to. Next up is the riding camels from Ramkehen, and to get this faction up, what I'd recommend doing is first of all the intro quest line, get the tabard. Once the tabard is on, I'd definitely recommend waiting for the time walking for Cataclysm, but either way, I think the best bet is Zul'Grub, farming the central bit with all the mobs in the water, the crocodile, stuff like that. If you do it right, you should end up basically back at the beginning again after killing your final mob, so it ends up a pretty good time efficient route. Next up is Dragon Isles, and going through the campaign, if you've not done this before, you've not done a character boost, will get you the various dragon riding flying mounts. Also, if you've not done the Emerald Dream one, very quick, you just do the intro quest for the Emerald Dream, and you do like the first chapter-ish, and you'll get a mount from doing that too. Next up is some of the factions in the Dragon Isles. First is Dragon Scale Expedition. You can rank this up by doing the campaign, the side quests, clicking the banners that are in the sky once you renounce high enough, and buying shovels to farm the dirt until your eyes bleed. And then you also have the Ascara Tuskar. Getting these guys up is very similar. You do campaign, you do side quests, but you're also going to do the event that happens in their hub every hour. And outside of that, you could farm treasures if you want to, but it's not very good. Next up is the Stormhide Salamantha. You can get this for 2000 elemental overflow, and the best place is probably grinding the rares on Forbidden Reach. Get you 2k and buy that. Next up is the Temperamental Skyclaw. You need 20 flash frozen meat, you need 20 Tuskar jerky, and 20 Nolan's House Special. I'll have those marked on the map. Now, I'd recommend skipping the flash frozen and just farming the Tuskar jerky and the Nolans, and get extra to be able to sell for the flash frozen, because that seems least efficient to grind. Next up is the Steamwheel Expedition. For this, I was grinding just the rares because I was coming to the zone every day for the garrison anyway, but if you want to grind it out, you can just farm the uninstance version of Highmaul, killing all the ogres in a loop until you loot enough items to hand them in for the rep needed. You could also do the Saber Stalkers as well. Found in Tanan Jungle, you just grind the mobs here for the reputation and also loot the claws because you need these to be able to purchase the mounts. Next is some TBC grinds. You can have the Talbuks, which will take about 2 hours. You'll unlock the faction, go into your hub in Nagrand, go through the intro quest there. Once you're done, you can grind the ogres over here. Just keep killing ogres for rep and looting war beads until you have enough to hit Exalted, and you'll get 8 Talbuks for that. And then you have the Never Raise, which you'll find in Terakar Forest over here. You'll do the intro quest line. It'll teach you how the rep grind works, and you just repeat that cycle until you're Exalted. It'll take about 2 to 3 hours as well, and you'll get 5 Never Raise for that. You're also gonna have up to 4 guild mounts depending on what your guild has done. You could join a guild on an alt as well and rank up your rep if you need to. Either way, they'll get your guild rep to Exalted by doing current level or quests, basic quests that would give you experience if you needed experience. You also, if you do the Shadowlands cheese I talked about with Renown before, where you boost your Renown using the item, you'll actually get some reputation from this because the Renown track rewards count as quests. You'll get a few thousand rep for doing that. The next section is gold/vendor mounts. I started the challenge with basically no gold, and I earned my gold from doing the Nightfall event and selling the BOEs, and I also grinded the Tuskar jerky and the Nolan's House Special because this was selling for a few hundred gold a pop too, so it seemed pretty good for the gold I was missing. The first ones I got were from the auction house. I picked up Reigns of Poseidon, was very cheap. Picked up the Coalfist Grunlin, which comes from the WoD mission table, and I picked up the Zui Lag, I think it's called, from engineering. This was a little bit more expensive but seemed worth the gold. I also upgraded my garrison to level 3 and purchased the Rock Tusk Battle Boar from the garrison vendor for 10k. If you have a friend with a tier 3 garrison, you can buy it from theirs instead. I also picked up the Griffins from the Flying Vendor mount, so you know, the base faction Griffins. If you hoard those, would be the Vivens. Pretty cheap and add a chunk more mounts to your collection. I also picked up 3 of the mounts from the Dalaran vendor. I got the Bear, I got the Woolly Mammoth, and I also got the Special Griffin. I also bought the Grey and Blonde Riding Yaks, which you can get from Kunlai Summit for 3k each. Not quite gold related, but I wanted to chuck them in here that I got a few mounts from the trading post as the months went by as well. The next section is going to be RNG drops, so stuff you may be grinding for a while if you're a little bit more unlucky. The first is going to be the Arboreal Gulpa, and this will come from Ardenweald. You want to farm mobs until you get yourself a unusual mushroom. I'd recommend farming here as well, because these mobs also have a chance to spawn in a different rare that will give you the Spine Maw Glade Chewer, so that's 2 mounts for 1 grind basically. I also got the Frightened Kodo from the new version of Darkshore. I definitely recommend making use of the NPC time add-on and a fresh shard to get this instant. Similar to the previous tip, I also got most of the Warlords of Draenor rare spawn drops, and I did this by making use of NPC time and war mode, checking how long the zone had been active for. If it'd been active for close to 2 hours, I'd start looking for the rare. Otherwise, I'd kind of try and keep the zone active until it does hit 2 hours, because that's the minimum needed for those rares to spawn. It took me 3 runs, but I got the Smoldering Emberworm from the Return to Karazhan. This is a mythic only one, and you have to do it in a specific way. You have to click crystals in a timed fashion, and then at the end you'll have a 20% chance of the mount dropping if you're doing this solo. Also, while I was farming the Zandalari Warbringers, I did get one of their Direhorn mount drop while I was farming the tokens. Each different coloured version of the Warbringer has a chance of dropping its corresponding mount, so if you fight a slate one, it can drop the slate Direhorn, so keep that in mind. From Dragon Isles, I picked up a few mounts. I did the Magma Shell, which you can buy from the auction house if you want to, an empty Magma Shell, or you can farm the snails and slugs here in the Waking Shores, get that and take it to the Magma Snail to get yourself the mount. I also picked up the Zenith Hatchling from the Zenith Abyss rare, which you'll find in Unaran Plains. It does have a decent respawn, but most people aren't really killing it nowadays, and that has a 100% drop chance if it's actually alive. I also did the Seething Slug in Zerelic Caverns. This is going to be a respawn thing where there's going to be 3 orbs active if it's actually up. If there's not, you won't find any orbs. You need to check all the spots, get 3 orbs, and then you can loot the chest with the mount in. While I was in Korthia as well, I was doing the Covenant related daily rare. It does depend on which Covenant you are, is which rare you'll be able to get a mount from, but I did get this one drop. It's not too low of a drop chance, but it's not too high either. Even though you can't use them from outside the raid, I did get the 4 battle tank mounts from AQ because they do still count towards the achievement, so these are worth grinding out if you've got a little bit of time. I also did get a little bit lucky with a few drops as well, so I'm going to add some alternatives later in the video because these two aren't probably going to be things that you'll get your hands on. But I got the Panther from Zul'Gurub, and I also got Flame Talon of Elis Razor from Firelands. Because I was gaining mounts as well, I was working towards the mount collection achievement, so I got the Albino Drake for 50 mounts, I got the Blue Dragon Hawk for 100, and I got the Jade Pandarum Kite String for 150. And now I'm going to run through a few alternatives, stuff that I was working towards, or stuff that can be swapped out for some of the stuff that might be a little bit more RNG or a little bit more long. One thing I'd recommend doing is the Ulduar achievements. If you go through the raid and do the Ulduar achievements, you will get the Rusted Proto Drake and also the Ironbound Proto Drake. There's only one achievement that's kind of difficult, and you will need to either use Res Sickness with all your gear taken off, or use the Whole Body Shrinker. Either way, you need to be able to do not enough damage to one-shot the boss. Outside of that, the rest of the achievements are fairly straightforward. You could be doing the Dream Surge event found in the Dragon Isles. You'll find it on the map. You'll go out there and find the Waking Dream portals by doing /target Waking Dream. Open these portals, kill the mobs. You'll be getting the Dream Surge Coalescence from doing this, and you'll also get these Chad Elemental Remains as well. Get 20 remains to make 1 mount, and get 1,000 of the essence from doing this and the various tasks within the Dream Surge to get the other mount. You also have the War within Glyph Hunter. This is very simple. You just fly around the zones, collecting all the different glyphs, and you'll get a mount once you've done all that in the base War within zones. You also have the Cenarian Hippogriff, where you'll farm either Underbog or Steam Vaults over and over again until you get the reputation needed for that. You could give it a chance at the Warfront rares too. Depending on your progress, you might not have access to the Arathi Highland ones, but you should have access to the Darkshore ones. Go out there, kill the 4 different rares, and you'll have a pretty good chance, like 5% per rare that you kill. So that's worth doing every time the Warfront stuff resets. You have the Silver Windlarian, which once again just kind of requires you to fly around Bastion, clicking on crystals. Once you do that, you will get your hands on the hammer, and you can summon the Silver Windlarian and get that mount. So that does bring an end to the mount list. Hopefully this video was useful because I tried something a little bit different in this, being more TLDR with any kind of key info I thought was relevant, as I didn't want to make another multi-hour mount guide because I do have my 150 easy mount guide. If you want to watch a really long one, then you can do that. This was meant to just be more of a list that you can follow along with, kind of pause, figure out what you want to target from each of the categories, and go away and do that until you've kind of completed the video's checklist. Either way, I hope it was useful. Look out for more guides coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.